Hi, Marcus at marcusblankenship.com. Let's talk today about how much should you let your developers customize their tools. Developers, especially millennials, are really used to customization. And in fact, a lot of religious wars in computer software have to do with what editor you use. So which is better? Should you let people choose whatever editor they want to edit those Ruby files? Should you standardize on it? We're going to use RubyMine, we're going to use Atom, we're going to use Emacs or Vim. Well, what are the pros and cons? Well, when you allow people to choose and make decisions about their own working environment, you give them autonomy. This is what people, especially millennials, view as highly valuable. They see the ability to make decisions about how they work, the tools they use, and to some extent the workflow they use as being part of their skill and their really the marks of a professional. But what are the downsides? As an employer or a boss, you might find these people are spending many hours researching tools, configuring tools, getting things set up, debugging them. I can remember times where my team, which ran Python for many years, 80% of the team used PyCharm, and we all set it up the same way. Now, a few folks had to be different, as I call them. So they might use Emacs or Vim or maybe even Sublime. This was fine. At first, I allowed it, no problems. But what I noticed was when they ran into trouble, no one could help them. And they would spend hours scouring Stack Overflow or the internet on why their debugger didn't work or how to get a key binding working just right or whatever the thing was, while the rest of the team happily moved on to be productive. So here's what I found. In advance, think about when new people come on, what will you let them customize about their environment and what are the standards? I think a good place to start is to say, we all use the same source code control. Duh, we're all going to use Git or GitHub. That's very obvious. But then let's move it a step farther. Let's all use the same tool, the command line, the GitHub Mac app, whatever app, Tower, whatever app it is that you use, let's all use the same tool there. Now, when we come to editors, do you want to find a standard editor that most people think is pretty good and can be extended and maybe even people invest in, and that investment can be shared across the team? Or do you say whatever editor is fine, but you take care of it when it doesn't work and there's sort of no tech support from other people? That is, if you're running Atom, don't come in and ask me how to do something that PyCharm does just because you saw some guy on Stack Overflow had figured it out. Okay, that is probably a weekend project for you if you care so much to run Atom. So again, I think there's a whole set of decisions about what kind of tools you use and where you allow flexibility. I like to say in general, have a few standards and don't deviate from them, and they should be the most important things. And then have a set of things people can choose about for themselves. For example, you might want to standardize on everybody using a Mac because then you're using the same core software, or everyone's using a PC. And there really needs to be a good reason that somebody uses Windows or Linux or some other cool new thing that they found on the internet. A lot of times developers start to consider their tools much like tattoos, somehow a personal sign of their independence, of their skill, something that really matters to them. And yet I think the older you get, and this is why I have white hair, the less you realize that what editor you use matters in the long run. And what really matters is being able to communicate with other people on your team about how can I solve a problem. So I just want you to take a few minutes, think about the tools your team is using, think about where you might need to put standards in place and where you can allow a lot of flexibility, and then have that discussion with your team. It's all about bringing your team closer together and closer to you to create that in-group. It doesn't mean you're giving away all the flexibility. It does mean you're leading by example and you're putting thoughtful ideas into motion. Okay, now I want you to think about this and go talk to your team. I'm Marcus. You can join my list at marcusblankenship.com/list, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.